Right. Thanks for that. But yeah, I just have a couple questions, not too big. I started really learning the business about 5 months ago, and I've really started with like, I was really like taught the on market way, but I see that you guys really specialize on off market and stuff. But
Hmm.
I've been mainly doing off market, I mean on market, because it's really like I don't really have too much of a budget, so it's like it helps me, like I just make a call and see what goes on. And yeah, I
Hmm.
just wanted your opinion because like would you recommend me to like start doing on market off market deals? Because
Okay. So this is a so what you're asking me is a very popular question. Like it's on everyone's mind. And so I'm just going to give you. So guys, when I give you answers, and the really cool thing is with like me and Zach, you kind of get like two different, not two different versions. You get the same philosophy, but sometimes we have different ways of attacking it.
yeah.
Zach, my son can take anything on market or off market. He's just like he loves it. So I'm an off market guy.
Yeah.
I'm by it because I know the struggle. A lot of people, oh, Rick, you started back in 2003. It's a different world. I go, yeah, but there was no roadmap. It was like navigating through the sea and wondering if the Earth was flat or round. So here's the challenge with it, and I'll sum it up, make it as simple as possible so you guys can learn from it. On market is much easier up front. It just like, okay, the data's there. I know they're selling. I have a phone number. I have a person I can contact, and I can go through numbers, and it's just a numbers game, right? That's how most people think with it. And sometimes it works out really well. Sometimes it works better in other markets, but there's so many variables that go in with it. It's like, number one, do you like talking to people? Number two, are you mass calling with like a multiple dialer? Number three, are you talking to agents? Are you talking to rest of the FSBOs? And like, do you have the ability to talk to these people? And what happens is you get through it, and after a few months, you're like, well, it's not as easy as I thought I was going to be. It's like, this is like, I can't get them to get a deal with me. Like they're all squeezing me, trying to get me close to like just below retail. And it's like, it's annoying. And for that part, I hate that part of it because my fear is you burn out doing it. Now flip over on the other side, off market, you have the opposite problem. It's a nightmare to get the data. Who do you trust to get the data? Now you got people offering like free data and this and that. Guys, I'm telling you, dude, I took a lot of free data in my life. Don't worry about the cost of data, because honestly, I actually prefer to pay for it because I feel like they've taken a more professional approach with it. Because once you get the data, if it's free, and say you had to skip trace that entire list, and say the list sucked, you just smoked through a ton of money. So that free data cost you a fortune, and that's my problem with free data. And so when I was growing up, when I was doing wholesaling, is I had a lot of people, there was like list services, and they were just middlemen. They're like, I'll get you this list, I'll get you, because we didn't have all these filters and all these great tools you guys have today. And I just gave up because I was getting old information and I wasn't getting anywhere. I went back. I tried a lot of companies, and boy, like the problem is I didn't get deals. I spent a lot of money and I left the things that worked. Guys, I used ListSource, I think 11 years. Why? Because it was expensive, but it was reliable. And when you have a reliable source, and by the way, when I started using listrei.com, which is our prop stream, I double tested it, the ListSource, for 1 year before I trusted it. Okay. So if you're going to switch to a free service, please make sure you're at least matching apples to apple, because the worst thing you can do is take a free list and say you cold call 5,000 people and you get nowhere. Was that list free? It's a nightmare. So back to off market. I got off, like my ADHD kicked in. I apologize. So when you get off market, it's harder up front. But when you do make that connection with the seller, it's easier. You can get deals 60, 70 cents on the dollar. Whereas when you're dealing with on-market deal, they're all shooting for 85 and higher on average. And that's the challenge you want to do it, because they just don't care. When you get an off-market property, you don't have competition. You have limited competition because it's private data.
Yeah.
And number two, they're like, listen, can you just help me solve this problem? And if you do what you say, you can walk away with it. Now, which type of personality you want to do? In the perfect world, you can kind of do both. So the best way is you can still attack your on-market, take the data you've had, your failures, and let that fuel you for going, okay, I know this doesn't work, or these types of properties don't work, or this area doesn't work, so I'm going to start filtering the type of calls I make. Because you threw out a net and you got big holes in it, and that's the problem when you do public data. And you got to just, so a lot of my failures in wholesaling, they're now my victories because I learned a valuable lesson. That's how we learn, guys. Like it's how we learned in school is BS, because you don't keep taking a test over and over till you get it right. When you do it wrong in wholesaling, you fail, you can lose money, but man, do you get a lesson. You get a lesson, go, I ain't doing that again. And I just over and over, my entire career has been that exact mantra. And I've had a couple times where I almost wiped myself out. So remember, I went from a smoking market to the coldest market we've ever seen in history. I was caught in the middle of that crossfire. So I'm just like, oh my God, what do I do? And that was the challenge. So I would do like a blend. Here's your focus, the off-market list. Don't waste time. So either get a list provider you trust. We only, we use PropStream and we use Batch. We're the only ones that offer both because we want to give you guys options. I'm not going to say I prefer one over the other because I'll get in trouble because I use both. So whichever you want to do, it's up to you. The other way is just go get your government list. They are free. You're typically going to have to skip trace them anyways. But if you go chase code violations, tax delinquencies and stuff like that, I guarantee you'll find somebody that wants to do a deal with you there. Right. You're going to have to go through the pain of skip tracing them and doing all that stuff. But if you do a little bit of combo, and then what I would do is take the on market and start using your data and figure out what is 100% not working. Like this city, this is brutal. These, at least I've had 5 or 6 people I can talk to. And that's how you learn and go forward. Some people like to strictly do off market. I'm an off market guy because I get the deepest discounts. And when I was younger doing this, I could do one deal and make 30, 40 grand. And this other guy would have to do 8 deals to do the same amount I did. And he killed himself and his expenses went through the roof. So I had a high profitability when I did it. So you got to find the balance on what fits best for you. I know it's kind of a long answer.
Yeah.
But like take the data that's frustrating the crap out of you and learn from it.
Right.
Guys, the only way you learn from data is you have to use it and then you either get a deal or you get a lesson, or sometimes you get both, and that's it. But if you keep speeding on the same dead lists that aren't working, especially on market, there's just too much traffic there. They're the wrong type of sellers. And yes, every now and then a blind squirrel can get a nut, but like I don't want to be a blind squirrel chasing that nut. It's just not a fun journey. So I would go after the government. My code violations and probates are my hands down. Like I just love them. Like I've always used them. Even today, like I don't never have to do another wholesale deal again. I still love them. And that's what we do in our local markets because they're very, very effective. Think about it. Code enforcement, code violations. They have a problem with the property. Wherever there's smoke, there's usually fire. The problem with online things is you just can't find out what is like, I got a number, but there's no smoke. And so you're trying to put out fires where there's no smoke. And so like I'm not a firefighter, but I'm just telling you, man, like I'm not going to sit here and drag my hose all over town and waste all my energy doing it. But it's up to you, man. You got to make a decision and you can do a combo of both. But here's what's going to happen. The minute you get a sniff of an off market, you get a deal, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this on market thing. Here's the reality, guys. The on market thing, it works. Some people use the agent relationship type of deal, and that's more of an advanced play. Like when you deal with real estate agents, it adds another level of complexity. As a newbie, I highly stay away from it. Realtors want to talk to realtors. Realtors hate talking to me. That's why I have other realtors talk to them, but I got to pay them for it. And there's got to be a lot of meat on the bone to make it work. So the best realtors I do are the ones just before they go into the market. I go, call me before you put a piece of crap house on the property. I'll make you an offer and you'll get paid on both sides. And that's what we do. Right. So just mix it up. Like mix it up. Go after the government list. Most gurus won't tell you about it because it's counterproductive to their course. So.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. I'm probably just going to do a little bit of both at times and just see what I can learn. I have one more question too. I don't want to take up too much time, but
okay.
There's this one listing that I'm looking at and it's about 100K and I put in an offer for 60,000. I don't want to say too much, but does that sound like a decent deal or should I go lower?
Say it again. I missed the numbers on it. I apologize.
Oh, sorry. The offer is, so the listing is at 100,000. They started lowering the price too, so I think the seller might be motivated. So I spoke to the person and I was able to get the agent to get the offer at 60, and she actually just sent me the DocuSign and everything. I was just making sure that the only problem about this property is that it's on a highway street. I don't know if that affects.
Yeah, it's going to affect the value. So I would find out how long it's been on the market.
Right.
You guys, you got to use real estate agents to get intel, and you're going to have to have a conversation with them. It's hard because they want to talk to other realtors, but you have to find out what the correct ARV for that one is to do a correct offer, because so many people get misguided. Go, oh, it was on the market at 150 and now it's at 100. So, and me getting at 60, it's a deal. You're making an assumption because you got to find out, because here's the one beauty about when people put their properties on the market, meaning public, like MLS, stuff like that, the market speaks. And when nobody wants that property, you got to step back and go, okay. Sometimes you have to put a cover over their offer price. And then you go, okay, I'm going to go on the listaria.com. I'm going to see what they say. I'm going to look at Truly. I'm going to look at Zillow. Zillow, and I'm going to find the most conservative values, and that's how I'm going to make them an offer. So when you guys make an offer, and here's the problem with on market, you make an offer based on what the realtor listed for. They're clueless, and most realtors overlist a property by 10 to 15% as a negotiating tactic. So as wholesalers, we cannot play in that arena, not even slightly. So just sometimes you got to put a blindfold on what they put on an offer, and the longer the days on market, what's the days? How long has it been on the market?
It's been on the market for, I think this one was like 100 days. So yeah, and they just
dude, like you got a lot of motivation there. So I always like try to like work. So what I would probably do is put it under contract. You're gonna have to look at the ARV. I want you to do that on your own. I don't do comps. And then once you have it under contract, get the longest inspection period you can, and then have an authentic conversation with the realtor. Because once you have it under contract, then you can ask hard questions like, what's the deal with this property? Why has it been on the market so long? Have you had other offers that fall through? Like, just be honest with me, because I don't want to, and here's how I talk to real, I don't want to waste your time. I value your time. What am I missing on this property? And just try to talk to them. And then you put out your kind of feelers and make sure you got a signable contract, and that's all you can do. And these types of properties, you wind up double closing because you're kind of stuck, like the way they do it. And that's the challenges you have to deal with these realtors.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I usually try to double down, like try to get the realtor both sides of the commission so they'll cooperate with me. But there's so many factors other than price you have to deal with realtors. And guys, I'm not going to teach you a course on it, because in my opinion, it's like an advanced strategy, and it's a pain in the butt. Like I tell you, if I'm going to deal with real estate agents, I'm going to go get my own real estate agents, which I have plenty of them, and I'm going to have them do that dirty work for me. And I'm going to pay them a night. You're going to pay them anyway, so you might as well have them doing the work. Us, we have a huge, it's like talking, it's like they speak Spanish, I speak English. It's a very hard communication barrier, because realtors are up here, we're down here. That's how we're viewed. And then the other way is when we look at realtors, we do the opposite, and it's like the battle. It's like what's the feud they call? What's that famous feud in the West they call between the families? I forget the names of them. Like they've been battling for like 100 years, the family, and the great grandkids are still like fighting with each other over. So you got to just like, but look, 60 is a significant number. So the question is the ARV, is that correct? Because if the ARV is 70, you're getting at 60. But remember, when the numbers get smaller, it gets weirder, because it's a math equation. So $10,000 off, that could be a 25% discount. But when the numbers get smaller, it's weirder. When the numbers get bigger, it's more of a discrepancy. So find out what the ARV on is. There it is. Hatfield McCoys. That's what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Like, I was like lost it. And guys, it's never going away. Like this battle with realtors. So the last thing I want to do is take a brand new wholesaler and teach you how to go chase stuff down on the MLS and have brutal conversations with licensed agents. It's difficult, it's painful, and most of you aren't equipped for it. It's just the truth. I'd rather you just go and do what you're doing. Just cold calling. You can do some on market. FSBOs are the natural training ground if you want to go that route. So
all right. Yeah, I got you.
It,
man.
Man,
I appreciate I think I'm good, but I'll be back. You'll see me more often, if I got
It's
anything.
Steven, right?
Yeah, Steven.
Okay. So guys, if I butcher your name, it's we all have deficiencies. Like I'm not the best with names. So so everywhere I go, just a little my ADHD kicking in. Like when I customers they go, Mr. Ginn, like, do you need this? I go, it's Ginn. And they're just like, and then they'll go, well, Mr. Ginn, do you want, I go, listen, say it one more time. I'm hanging up. Like, I know you're not listening to me. And so there's something about, you ever notice that? Like when someone calls you, say they do call you Stefan, and then you said, hey, it's Steven. I love that, because people pay attention to their name. Like a little experiment, I can snap anybody's name on this live, and I guarantee I'm looking at the videos, their heads will snap around when I do it. It's like if I go Devin, Esmeralda, Nick, Kyra, Sam, like everybody, oh God, here I come. It's a natural reaction. So this is a skill you guys got to understand with your sellers. When you use their name, you can find out if they're paying attention and they're engaged with you. So I appreciate you, and guys, straighten me out when I get the name wrong. And if your name's like tough, I'll just ask you, how do I pronounce your name? Because I have a pet peeve. I hate when people mispronounce my last name. It's funny, like my wife, because you get so mad. I go, it's not that the name pronounce it. It's like they're not, I just know they're not listening to me. And the number one skill set you can learn as a wholesaler is you got to learn to be really effective listeners, so you can strategize on how you're going to help them out with your offer. So you have a blessed day, man. I appreciate you, Steven. Thank you.
You too, man. Have a great one.
Okay, man. I'll see you later.